notifications before we even start. What's happening? Hi. Slow this music a bit. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I am Warren. This is the Monday stream for the Mr. Warren Hayes show. Did I mute my phone or am I complete I did not mute my phone. I didn't. I was just jumping in here. You know, phone going, could have gone off at any moment, like at a very important moment of the stream where I'm discussing something extremely serious. You know, like what is serious? I feel like it's more like there's so many topics. And I'm not really used to talking about serious things, so I wouldn't even know. I'm not qualified. Yeah, it's Monday. Hope you all had a good weekend. Hope it was a lovely weekend. There was a lot of pro wrestling going on this weekend. Maybe you dabbled a little into that. We'll talk about that in a little bit. We're just getting warmed up here. It's important to create a rapport with your audience. It's written in the YouTube guidebook. It's not actually. There's a lot of things that, when you do these dopey social media classes and how to use YouTube, and they always give all of these guidelines. It's always the same guidelines that all of these fucking classes do, that all of these experts online with their, some of them have classes, some of them just have like YouTube channels, but it's always the same. It's always the same advice they give, systematically. This is look at trending topics. What's hot? See if see what kind of topics are going on and make a video about that. Capitalize on trends. And you're like, yeah, and it has happened in the past where I have joined these types of online seminars, I guess, where I'm like, it's like an hour. Let's see what this person has to talk about, and it's like, it's always these very high level, general thoughts that they have about YouTubing, and just like the most basic stuff too. And I'm like, and then most of the time I'd raise my hand and said, hey, how you doing? Yeah, all of this stuff about, chasing down trends and, asking people to leave comments and all that. That's all great and nice. And I've heard this stuff before. But, let me help me try to figure out how you can help me out here. I do I do online wrestling talk. I'm like talk radio, but exclusively for pro wrestling, for an audience of people who are hardcore pro wrestling fans, right? How do I grow my audience? And I swear to God, most of the time they're just like, because they can't work with anything niche. They can't work with anything that you're like, look, I don't want to be, I'm not looking to break out and do like contrived content that just pleases people because the masses demand it. That's not what I want to do. I want to reach out to a very specific targeted audience. I know I'm not going to have millions of views on my videos. That's not what I'm going for. I just want to be able to grow my audience with a segment of knowledgeable wrestling fans. How do I do that? So they don't know. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. All they can do is the typical platitudes, That's all they do. It's the typical platitudes of, reach out to as many people, and then your thumbnails, you have to use these types of big bright letters and whatnot. Now I will say, the thumbnail advice is very good. There's I'll tell you one thing, okay? Out of all of the platitudes that these things give out, there's a reason why everyone does the same style of thumbnail, and that's because they legitimately do work. it legitimately works. I fiddled around a lot with thumbnail design. Late last year I was doing, I don't know if nobody probably really noticed, but I was doing A/B testing on my thumbnails here on YouTube, and the big bold letters with a face, like that type of design, it just works. It just works. That's all there is to it. So, that's the one thing at least I can take away from all of that. But, the rest I disregarded. I'm like, okay, well, if you're not going to help me, I'm going to do things my way then. And I'm going to use stock photography for my thumbnails, for my fucking live streams. And I'm going to give garbage titles. And we'll see how that goes. We'll just do that. I'll go on Blue Sky. I'll post about streaming later tonight, and I'll just write nonsense about nothing I'm going to be talking about, and we'll see how that goes. I don't know what, because no one can give me some proper advice. Okay, I'll blaze my own path then. You can't give me any advice. It'll be the first time my father never gave me any advice. Anyway. I had a lovely weekend. I had a very, very lovely weekend. Thank you for asking. Very nice. It was extremely pleasant weather here in ye old Quebec City. I have to tell, well, no, that's not true. Saturday was disgusting. No. Let me think back a little bit. Sunday was very nice, but Saturday was awful. It was god awful. It was raining, icy rain. It was just like, it legitimately was the pits. Then Sunday, it started to get more pleasant yesterday. Fog in the morning, early fog. That's how warm it was. And, but sorry to say I didn't take advantage of it much. I watched a lot of wrestling this weekend. I watched a lot of wrestling, and, my oldest was away. Well, my oldest is always away, but my youngest is what I'm trying to say. He left for Montreal, and, he went to a bug exhibit where they were exhibiting invertebrates. He's into that. He even brought back a moth, not a live moth, but like a moth that's pinned. Yeah, a pinned, is that what? I know there's a term for that. When they pin them. I know it's not a pinned moth, but he brought back a moth. Big bird fan as well. They had birds there as well, and they had like bird skeletons and whatnot. So he brought some of those back. So it's like he had a lovely weekend, and so did I. I ended up watching this weekend, as far as movie films go, Kinds of Kindness, and that is a movie that is straight up my alley. Jesus Christ, did I enjoy that film? I love that film so much. I was not expecting it, and it just came out of nowhere. And it is my entire vibe when I love watching movies. And it turns out this is the same director who directed Killing of a Sacred Deer, which is another movie I really liked. And then there's another one that I can't remember off the top of my head. Turns out, I didn't realize that I loved all these movies, and it was all the same director. So I guess I'm a fan of this director. I can't remember his name either. He's got a Greek name. I think it's Greek. Tremendous stuff. So I ended up watching that, which made me really happy. That was a lot of fun. And I watched some wrestling, and recorded a review, and watched some more wrestling. And I even wrote an article that is currently pending over there on the Voices of Wrestling. Should be published soon, I guess. I don't know. It's not a time sensitive article, so Rich can send that out whenever he wants. And just one of those, a creatively fulfilling weekend. Taking and absorbing stuff that I really enjoy. So, I start off my Monday. I'm refreshed. Mentally, I'm in a good spot. I'm like, hell yeah. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about on the wrestling side of things tonight. Fuck yeah. let's just go ahead, right? Let's just go and enjoy this, right? So there you go. That's my little warm up for tonight. Sharing all of these intimate details. David Bayens, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Thank you for the subscription. Welcome aboard. Hope we're not too boring tonight. Yes, he did do Poor Things and Bulgonia. Is that what it's called? Bulgonia? Begonia. You didn't like Begonia? I thought that fucking rocked. I thought this was such a fucking great film. No, I really like, but that's like, this is that's my vibe of film. Like you want to absolutely like absorb me. These types of movies where you've got the high level of tension. You're not quite sure what's going on. A lot of mystery, a lot of subtext, things that are happening, but that explain things, but you really have to be paying attention. Just like in Sacred Deer, God, just a series of great films. Poor Things as well. I like Poor Things, but not. I think that might be, out of the four we just mentioned, I think that might be my fourth favorite. I mean, I still liked it, but not as much as the three others. Anyway, I'm going to keep saying hello to folks here. I try not to use up all your energy within the first 15 minutes, Warren. You got a full 2 hours or 2 hour, 2.5 stream to maintain here. D. Owens, nice to see you, man. Welcome to the chat. D. Owens also happens to be a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel, so it's very good to see you. My AEW about to eat all of their remaining revenue. About to eat all of their remaining revenue. Interesting. Okay. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Jay Luthi, nice to see you as well. Also a member. Welcome, welcome. You don't want to post eyeballs for engagement bait. Does it work? Does it work? Because the question you always have, and then that you have to ask yourself is the people who are engaged by, the eyeball emoji. Do you want these people in your audience? That's ultimately the question you have to ask yourself. Lady Layton, how are you? Welcome to the chat. It's nice to see you as well. Thank you for preferring my stock image thumbnails. I like them better as well. I think it's pretty good. 72 degrees Fahrenheit right now. It is March 9th. When has it ever been this hot? Yeah, tell me about it. Especially since I've found the last few years, spring has been coming real late, but we're supposed to get like some disgusting weather over the next couple of days. Like winter's not done yet. I'm not sitting here pretending that winter is done. Winter is not done yet, especially not around these parts. Winter takes a long fucking while to release us from its grasp. DJ Convoy, how you doing, buddy? Member of the channel on top of that. It's good to see you. Advice, sure. Yes, I agree. Silence of the Lambs vibes. Oh, because of the moth? No. No. There's no lotion. There's no lotion. There's no hole in the basement. There's none of that. There's none of that. Meggy O'Kenna, nice to see you, brother. Welcome to the chat. Also member of the channel. Hope everything is good in the Pacific time zone. Patrick, nice to see you as well. Welcome. Also member of the channel. I watched it on Friday and really liked it. The Kinds of Kindness. Fuck yeah, brother. That was really good. I have a tab with the rental open for Begonia. Isn't it? Wait, it debuted on a streaming service. I don't think you have to buy it. I think I saw it. I think I saw that it debuted on a streaming service. Was it Amazon? But maybe it might have been Amazon for Canada. Oh, Begonia. No, Begonia's tremendous. It's just crazy. See, it's on Peacock. I knew. So David, don't rent it. Head on over to the Peacock and do it there. I think you'd get great engagement if you isolated the weekly Levesque dressing down and branded them as such. Yeah, but then then you attract like people who want to defend them, and I don't want to talk to those people. I don't want to talk to those people. People who come to defend Paul Levesque, I don't want them in my life. I was referencing my W eating Triller's lunch. They're barely hanging on as it is. Look, I don't know if you recall, a couple of months ago, we had the whole Triller spiel, right? I broke down everything that I knew about Triller, and they're not paying people right now. I don't know if AEW is in that boat, because AEW is probably, well, we know now because there was a financial report that was put out, but AEW is one of their biggest revenue streams, but we don't know if they're paying them. I mean, you would assume that you're paying your biggest customer, right? That you're getting their invoices and you're like, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your business. Please come again, right? But apparently it's a little more, I don't know. Like for AEW, I don't know what they're doing, but I know there's some people they're straight out not paying because they don't have the money, because Triller's in the shitter. I'm a lyrical master. So that's the thing. Like, so, you know, we've been talking about Triller dying for the past couple of years. I think Triller's going to be bought out for pennies on the dollar by someone. It's going to be bought out for, it's not going to die. It's going to be purchased by someone for an astonishingly low price point. Chat, I'm going to tell you, I would be willing to bet 10 Canadian rubber bucks that if we all came together, we could probably purchase Triller ourselves. we could probably come together and say, here's our offer. And none of us we wouldn't be mortgaging our homes here. Okay. We wouldn't be going around, you know, selling our car and, you know, wondering if we really need another kidney and stuff like that. We would make a nice, decent offer, and I'm sure we could buy the Fight TV by Triller, or Triller TV by Fight, powered by whatever the fuck it is. Look, all of the wrestling promotions are moving off of it, right? All the wrestling promotions are moving. The indies, they're all going off doing their own thing elsewhere, or they're going back to IWTV. No, it's a disaster. Triller is a complete disaster. There's not going to be a lot of money. Triller not paying might have caused AEW to rush out on this case. I think there's two things, but we'll talk. I think that's one of the reasons. I think there's another reason too. We'll get to that. I have a segment planned for it, so you're getting ahead of me, D. Owens. This is my show. You're not gonna tell me how. You're not gonna hijack the topics here. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's fine. It's banter at this point, right? I'm here for the Scotty Flamingo watch party, says DGMC, member of the MrWarrenHayes Show channel. That actually sounds like fun. We should do that. We should do the Scotty Flamingo watch party sometime. Rory, nice to see you. Rory Starks, truly coming to high spots. Yeah, that's the kind of thing. Like, that's the kind of thing I'm expecting. WWN making the big comeback. You know. Coming in from behind. Anyway, all right. Should we get the housekeeping out of the way? Should we do that? Leave a like on this stream. I know you haven't left a like. Most of you haven't. I know. I see the number. It's right there. You probably see it too. Leave a like, okay? I'd appreciate it. Gives a little more boost to the stream. People are like, and then it gets passed around and people go like, ooh la la, pro wrestling, I like that. And then people show up. So that's first and foremost. Second of all, the MrWarrenHayes Show, the podcast, is coming out tomorrow. which will include in this edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show a review of CMLL's Friday night show, the all women's show La Noche de la Amazonas, de la Amazonas, not las, right? De la Amazonas, La Noche de la Amazonas, the all women's show that they did. Yeah, a bit of a spontaneous review, and oh, hi, Kristen. Hello, darling. You're here. Welcome to the chat, a member of the channel. Oh, and you didn't plug your crock pot before starting. Congratulations, darling. You're just going to eat later. That's all. You just have to wait. That's all there is to it. But back to my review. So I did a spontaneous review after watching the CMLL show. As many of you know, I watch CMLLs on Sunday morning. It's a lovely thing to do. You wake up in the morning, you pour yourself some hot beverage after taking the dog out. You sit down on the couch and you fire up CMLL. And so I watched that and was like, hey, you know what? I should talk about this. I think there's enough material here to do a little review. So I did a little review. And that will be available tomorrow on the Mr. Warren Hayes Show, but not tomorrow, Wednesday, excuse me, not tomorrow, tomorrow's Tuesday, Wednesday on the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. But if you would like to have access to that review right now, well, you can become a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel right here by hitting the join button, and you will have early access to the review. Every one of the members of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show has access to the early access stuff that I do. That's such a, I tried, but it didn't work out. Words came too fast before they actually made a coherent sentence. Everyone has early access to everything that I record. So whether it be, most of the time it's reviews or anything else, but most of the time it's reviews. So they're all available ahead of time for members of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. So they have seen my CMLL review as of right now. And yeah, listen, and honestly, I thought it was a good show overall. You know, I'm not going to necessarily go into detail, you know, to top to bottom, but you know, I enjoyed the main event. I thought the main event was good. I think the best match on the show was not the main event. I thought Megan Bayne and Olympia was the best match on the show, and I think a match everyone should seek out. I even think that that this was Olympia's best match. It's the best match I've ever seen from her. She was excellent in this match, and you know, I continue pushing, or at least Megan Bayne continues to prove me right when I say that she is very, very good at what she does. That she was probably the most improved wrestler of 2025, but I was the only one who was paying attention enough to notice. Because not that long ago, you might have been like, Megan Bayne, no, not anymore. She was tremendous. It was an excellent match. And so yeah, so that's about all I'm going to give you. You want the rest? You want the details? You want to know why I thought that match was so good? You listen to the review. Then on Thursday, of course, we are going to have the AEW Dynamite review, which will be available earlier in the day. And then the Thursday evening stream, where we will be previewing the big Revolution pay-per-view this weekend, back to Sundays now that the NFL season is over. I mean, look, we'll go into detail on Thursday, but stacked pay-per-view, exciting pay-per-view, tickets selling well. This is probably going to be a very successful pay-per-view for AEW. Very, very at the gate, and I think in buys as well. Lots of things feel very hot on the show. So anyway, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about that on Thursday. So if you just needed to have your whistle wetted to show back up on Thursday, this is how you wet your whistle. You know, at least how I was taught. So if you needed that to show up on Thursday to set a reminder, you know, you tell your Alexa thing, your Siri thing, your Google thing, you know, you say, okay, it didn't activate good. You say, hey, set a reminder for me, and then they set a reminder for you. So that's it. So that's what's good. And you can, as always, follow me on Blue Sky. You can also follow me in my Discord, which is the link is in the description if you want to hop in and check that out and join us. It's a nice little bunch of people. And I think that's it. And like I mentioned earlier at the start, I have an article on the way at Voices of Wrestling that may or may not have to do with Aaron Wolf. But I also have an article right now available in the May issue of Pro Wrestling Illustrated, which was released last week in digital format. So you can head on over to pwi/online.com and pick up either a digital copy or pre-order the print issue, and you'll get my article in there, in which I do an exhaustive recap of the House of Torture and where they're at right now. A recap of the House of Torture, what they've meant, and where I think the clown train is going. It's more than a car now. There's so many cars now to this train. It's no longer just a clown car. It's a clown train. It doesn't have a whistle. It has a honk. Or something like that. Anyway, so there you go. That's all the housekeeping of the little things that are happening that I'm doing, that I'm putting together. So please check all of those out. Thank you for being here tonight, everyone. Hope you enjoy the proceedings, and we are going to get them going, of course, with our favorite nunchuck wielding weirdo.
How you doing, everybody? I'm Jacques Mollier. Just let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a nunchuck master, and I represent NWA, Mountain State Wrestling. Hoo-yah!
Talks, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. You too, JD. All right. You know what I decided to do tonight? All right, guys, are we done? All right, we're done. You know what I wanted to do tonight? We have lots of lore regarding Jacques Mollier. We know we've and what we don't have, we have developed. But we got a lot of lore around Jacques Mollier. We know he's a nunchuck master, but folks, did you know that on top of it, Jacques Mollier is a lyrical master? Oh.
How you doing, everybody? Don't mess with me because I'm from Staten Island, New York. Do you want to get a little more action up in here? Mountain State Wrestling is real. That's right, you can't say it's fake. How do you get hit with a steel chair and walk away and say it ain't all right? Because it is all right. That's what we do here, because we hardcore. Mountain State Wrestling, represent West Virginia. Take it back to New York City.
I have to take a minute here. You know who he reminds me of right now? It is all right. It is all right. You know what? You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of, you know, that rapper Snow? Does anyone remember Snow from the 90s? Canadian rapper, the Informer dude? Like, legitimately, he's got the leather vest, he's got the suit, and he's got the shirt and tie. He's got the glasses. He does not remind you of New Jack. Fuck you.
Back in the street, when we was keeping it real, rocking that beat. Ice, baby.
Wrong, yeah, ice, baby. Wrong white guy. Wrong white. We were so close. Yeah, it's all right.
Up in here, Mountain State Wrestling is real. That's right, you can't say it's fake. How do you get hit with a steel chair and walk away and say it ain't all right?
How can you get hit with the steel chair and walk away and say it ain't all right? How can you? So, I am. It ain't all right. You can't get hit. How can you get hit with the chair and walk away and say it ain't all right? Incredible stuff. There's layers to Jacques. That's all I'm gonna say. There's layers to Jacques. And clearly, look, you'll notice there's a little more hair here. This was not shot within the same time frame as the nunchucks, because he's completely bald. Like he's shaped all the way down. Here he's got the little stubble. He's got a little bit of got a little hair. It's more than stubble. It's hair. It's actually hair. He's got some very short buzz cut hair. Snow mixed with Maestro Fresh West. I agree that the beat is a little more, it's a little more fresh. It's a little bit it's a little more Maestro Fresh West style. I agree that I concur. It's not a snow type beat. Anyway, so there you go. Wanted to add a little lore to our boy Jacques here this evening. Thank you for playing. All right. Look at this big, busy docket we have going here. Look at this. Got a lot of shit to talk about. But hey, look, even before we jump in, I was talking about how I watched a lot of wrestling this weekend. Did you guys know that there was a WWE NXT PLE this weekend? Did you know this? Did you know that the Vengeance Day was happening this weekend? Look, I know it's a meme, okay? I know it's a joke to say, did you know there was an NXT pay-per-view this weekend? You know, because no one pays attention and they don't promote them and whatnot. But I'm not joking for my own self here. I'm not even kidding. I did not know until Friday that there was a Vengeance Day thing here for NXT. And that ended with Joe Hendry defeating Ricky Starks for the NXT championship, right? Because Ricky Starks' run is just like, it's could a show have negative buzz? Chat, I'm legitimately asking. Can a show have negative buzz? Because I heard nothing about this show from no one talking about it. I didn't see any news stuff about it. And I would even say that it ended up like the result was just like, this shit stunk. I saw more reactions to people shrugging, going, this is a bad show. This was a bad NXT pay-per-view and whatnot. And that's what I have a tendency to believe. So doesn't that equate to negative buzz then? If you don't hear anything about it and then the show happens and then it sucks, that's negative, right? I was completely baffled that to find out that there was a show on Saturday, and I still didn't watch it because it's NXT. I have a little more. I watched Kinds of Kindness instead. Okay, I'm the true winner here. I won. I made the right decision. It was such a what anyway. So I didn't want. I just wanted to bring that up because that was part of the busy weekend of wrestling. Because I didn't hear it. I didn't hear a thing about it. I heard zero zilch nada. We had the 16 karat gold tournament over there in Germany via WXW that also happened. We had Eve's big show, big Wrestle Queendom show that happened as well. We had the Stardom Cinderella tournament that happened as well. We had the anniversary show from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like, there was so much stuff happening this weekend that I was like I had difficulty choosing. And what I ended up this is what I ended up doing. I ended up jumping into the Cinderella tournament because I'm like, okay, it's a tournament, and I feel like I should be following the tournament. And I particularly made the decision to jump into the tournament as opposed to the New Japan Cup because New Japan booking stinks. Okay, and I was like, I'm going to wait to really hear about any recommended matches for this fucking New Japan Cup 2026. Okay. Now, I've heard that Ryohei Oiwa has moved forward in the tournament. That is good news. And I think his next opponent is Zack Sabre Jr. That match is probably going to rock. That I'm looking forward to. But Jesus Christ, you're not going to get me excited because Shingo Takagi is going to be fighting Don Fale. He's not, because he's going to be stepping into the ring with Bad Luck Fale. That's a turnoff if I ever heard one. So in the meantime, I've got, the 16 karat tournament that I got a bunch of recommendations from BritRes fans. So I'm going to be checking that out over the course of the week. I'm going to catch up with Dan's Pro Wrestling Heaps Wrestle Queendom show. Which apparently just rave reviews from everyone, just absolute bonkers rave reviews. So that's good. I'm on the 16 karat gold side of things. I'm very excited to watch Hashimoto versus Danny Luna. That apparently that one went very, very hard. I'm very excited to see that. And I'm very excited to see Danny Luna wrestling and doing something, because fucking TNA can't get their fucking shit together to give her a visa so she can come back to work in the US. Anyway, I do want to talk real quickly about the Cinderella tournament. Listen, I got to tell you, yesterday's show, Sunday's show, was absolutely phenomenal. Okay, I didn't watch the tag matches. I jumped right into the tournament, but just a phenomenal show. Like just great show. And there were two matches specifically on this card, which blew my mind. It just absolutely blew my mind. So look, we were already in the second round. The first round happened. I caught up with that. I don't have much to say about the first round. A couple of draws and whatnot. But round two is when things start to get interesting because there was a lot of people in this tournament. So the matches that we had yesterday were Hanan defeating Rana Yagami. Rion versus defeats Natsupoi, which was that was one of my favorite matches of the show. It was such a good match, and there's a rule in the Cinderella tournament where you can get eliminated if you're thrown over the top rope and your feet touch the floor. Battle Royal rules, right? But there's only two of you, and they teased that the entire way, right? And Natsupoi, established star, a favorite to win, yada, yada, yada. Rion gets a surprise win by knocking her off the apron at some point, but she really worked hard at it. She tried multiple times during the course of the match to get to that point, and she succeeded, and holy shit, it was great. It was a really excellent match that I think you should check out. After that, you have Hina, who defeated Azusa Inaba. Sayaka Kurara defeated Tomoaka Inaba, which was also terrific. And actually more than terrific, right? This was, let me double check here, but if I'm not mistaken, this was my favorite match of the night. And my favorite match that I saw so far this weekend. Yeah. Yes, I'm underselling it. God, this match ruled. I just pulled up my notes here, and it was absolutely fantastic. A fantastic submission match. A fantastic submission match where Inaba is just doing everything in her power to knock Kurara off her game and keep her grounded and whatnot. Kurara, I believe, was last year's Cinderella winner, so she's coming in as the incumbent, I guess. And it was just again another outstanding effort. Like if I were to give the star ratings gimmick to it, I'd give Kurara and Inaba 4.25 star. I give Rihanna Natsupoi 4. And then after that, you had Rina defeating Ami Sourei and Miyu Amasaki defeating Saya Ida. Those are the two last matches. And look, Rina and Sourei was probably my least favorite match of the show, even though it wasn't bad. It's just I felt like I felt it underperformed in regards to everyone else on the show. And Amasaki and Ida, they were the main event, and I was expecting something a little crunchier, but that's not exactly what happened. So these were all the matches. Of course, there's 2 buys right now in the tournament because there were double eliminations in round 1. There were 2 matches where Hanako and Yuria Hime. And the other match, Saori and Fuachan, they both double eliminated each other. both went over the top rope. So that gave Aya Sakura and Maki Ito buys into the quarterfinals directly. So they didn't have to wrestle in round 2. So that's where we're at right now. The quarterfinals are going to be Hanan versus Maki Ito, Aya Sakura versus Rian, Sayaka Kurara versus Rina, and Hina versus Miyu Amasaki. Lots of people, lots of betting people betting on Hina. I think she's been very consistent. Like they've wrestled 2 matches. She's wrestled 2 matches so far, but both matches have been extremely consistent. She's been very good. Look, I'll be curious to see how this moves forward. They go back to action, I believe, on the 11th. Is when the tournament continues. Like it finishes this week. They're not dragging this out. They're just going straight for it. And you know what's the thing that's always really cool about Stardom is the 15-minute time limits. So these matches are never going to waste your time. It's never going to be these extended things where you're like, oh, you could have chopped it down. It's like 15 minutes. You got 4 or 5, 6 matches to watch. It's a breeze. Like it's a breeze to go through. I recommend night 3 for round 2, night 3 of the Cinderella tournament. It was really good. I enjoyed myself immensely. I thought it was. I legitimately think it was an excellent time. So there you go. And I'm going to catch up with a lot of stuff that I missed out on this weekend. On top of that, things that are on my radar, and I want to make sure that I get in on them as well. So there you go. All right. We're good. We got everything set here. Hey, Pete. Nice to see you, Pete Davies. Welcome to the chat. Also, member of the channel. Hanan wins the tournament. She's the real fit. But, Hina as well, if I'm not mistaken. That's a name that's going around that people are like, oh, yeah. She really has a chance. She stands a good chance of winning, so on and so forth. Right? I don't think I'm mistaken on that. But Hanan does seem like the odds-on favorite. People have been, people are really high on the Hanan. Let's crack open this docket. Let's get going here. We've got some stuff to talk about. Earlier today, on the day that I'm recording this, which is March 9, 2026, All Elite Wrestling put out a press release announcing the launch of My AEW, a centralized streaming destination for AEW fans. Let's read the press release, shall we? We love ourselves some PR. Is it because I write a lot of PR and copy in my shoot job and yes. Because then I can overtly criticize people who aren't good at their jobs and like, this sucks. What was the press release that we read a couple of days ago? And I'm like, I'm sure this is AI, and you ran it through an AI detector and it was like 100% AI. It was it was the Dude Wipes. It was the Dude Wipes press release, and I read it. You remember? We read it. I read it on stream, and I was like, this is all AI. There's no way. And sure enough. Kiswe. How do we pronounce this? Does anyone know? Kiswe. I don't know how to pronounce this. We'll say Kiswe. We'll do that now. Kiswe, the global leader in streaming technology and services, and All Elite Wrestling, one of the most dynamic brands in professional wrestling, today announced the global launch of My AEW, a new digital platform for All Elite Wrestling, powered by Kiswe. Powered by Kiswe. The platform gives fans immersive access to live and on-demand events outside the United States and Canada. Very, very important distinction here. A dedicated fast channel with ad-supported viewing available to fans globally, and more exciting features to come in the near future. The MyAEW.com platform is designed to bring the global AEW fan base an immersive digital experience, connecting fans with the best in-ring action, behind-the-scenes moments, and exclusive digital content, laying the foundation to become the central hub for fans of all fans of professional wrestling. So, I just want to. What does this sound like? We read this description here, this one that we just read here. Platform designed to bring the global AEW fan base an immersive digital experience, connecting fans with the best in-ring action, behind-the-scenes moments, and exclusive digital content, laying the foundation to become the central hub for all fans of professional wrestling. What does this sound like? It kind of sounds like the WWE network, doesn't it? Hang on. If I were to just make a little search here. If I could spell, that would probably even be better. But let's see if I can find. No, that won't be it. Netflix, no. Maybe on the WWE network. Maybe that'll be in the... I wish I had the press release for the announcement of the network. I should have planned for this. But I just thought, like, interesting. I'm reading it out loud. I'm like, oh, wait a second. That kind of sounds like the WWE network, right? Maybe. Oh, okay. So you can search on it for their press releases. No, I don't think they have it. Yeah, they have like a press release for the network. Call for a call with investors and stuff like that. Anyway, look, it doesn't matter. I'm getting sidetracked.
How you doing, everybody?
Are you? Like it's Jacques again. Calm down, Jacques. Jesus. Yeah. Look, where the hell's that music coming from? All right, let's continue. Launching ahead of AEW Revolution, which features stars like MJF, Hangman Adam Page, Jon Moxley, Willow Nightingale, FTR, and the Young Bucks. This partnership marks the beginning of a long-term evolution for My AEW, with continued advancements and developments over the next year. We are excited to partner with Kiswe for the launch of the new My AEW platform, said AEW CEO, GM, and head of creative Tony Khan. Kiswe has set the standard for digital content across all forms of sports and entertainment, and we are proud to have AEW alongside other leaders in this space as we continue to evolve the platform and best serve fans around the world. The partnership with AEW underscores Kiswe's ability to build and support streaming platforms featuring a variety of live and on-demand content with flexible region-specific pricing. AEW has an incredible vision for the future of their fan experience, and Kiswe is proud to be the technology partner powering it, said Glenn Booth, CEO of Kiswe. My AEW was built to become the central hub for the AEW community, directly connecting one of the most passionate fan bases in sports and entertainment to the content they love by giving them unprecedented access to the ring and beyond. How big is this? Kiswe, global leader and whatnot. This is it here. Kiswe, your D2C streaming partner. And do they have a client list? Like, do we know? The Black Sabbath apparently was, Smosh. Wow. Oh, here we go. Partners. Yeah, okay. Sure. Okay. That's fine. Yeah, they're playing in the big leagues, aren't they? They're playing in the big leagues. That's fine. Okay. Good for them. So that settles that question that I had. It doesn't matter. No one, stop asking me for my cookies. There you go. Jesus. It's Kiswe. Oh, Lady Layton found the press release. WWE Network will be the first network to ever launch a premium 24/7 streaming service with original programming, live content, and on-demand library that the WWE universe can access anywhere. I mean, we're not using the exact same terminology, of course, but the global AEW fan base, an immersive digital experience connecting fans with the best in-ring action, behind-the-scene moments, and exclusive digital content. We're not that far off. It's kind of the same pitch. That's, we're just using different terminology. Thank you for looking at that. Thank you for finding that. Yes, the typo in premium is pretty funny. It's pretty funny. Hey, fuck yo mama. Nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat. So where were we? Okay. So I think this, look, you remember a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago or something, or 2 months ago, there was a filing, there was a trademark filing for My AEW. Remember this? People were wondering what the hell that could be. I don't think anyone was really expecting a streaming service. I don't think anyone was really expecting a full-on streaming service. I wasn't, especially after settling in with Warner Bros. Discovery and having the HBO Max stuff. Of course, the international things have all been the international markets have all been a blind spot. I can agree with. I concur that there's stuff you want to be able to get into, right? So, there's markets you want to be able to access. Clearly, there's a demand in certain parts of the world overseas, at the very least, and not even overseas, even in Mexico, for some AEW stuff. So it's all very exciting. But this comes kind of out of nowhere, right? But as we noted, this is mostly an international thing. It's minded for people abroad, because Brandon Thurston here over at the WrestleNomics, he put together a comparative table here of all of the offers in all of the countries in which my AEW will be available. So you can see here, well, you can see in the table that he provided that everything regarding pay-per-views is not available in North America. Just as simple as that, anything available, anything, aside from buying standalone pay-per-views in Canada, right? Because for us, it was pretty much only Amazon, or you could still do YouTube. You could do Amazon, or, you could use your VPN, and go buy it off a Triller. That's an option I've heard people use. I've heard that being tossed around. But the most interesting thing is that is that outside of having access to the standalone pay-per-views, they have subscription models. So there's actually tiers that you can subscribe to that will give you access to AEW content. So their basic subscription, monthly subscription, will give you access to live Dynamites and Collisions, the AEW TV archive, and will also give you access to Ring of Honor. So the Ring of Honor TV and the pay-per-view during the month that you're subscribed, and the price is actually really reasonable. The price is legitimately reasonable. $8 a month, that's a tremendous price point. But it gets even better if you ask me, because then you can move up to the next tier, which is the monthly tier, and then you have you get the pay-per-views included in this. So you get the pay-per-views, the pay-per-view that's available in the month of your subscription, right? And then, like they say, 90 days during the pay-per-view month, live Dynamites and Collisions, AEW TV archive, Ring of Honor TV archive, live Ring of Honor pay-per-views, and then select AEW pay-per-view archives. I'm not quite sure what that is about. And it's $20. It's $20 a month. That's crazy. Like the pay-per-views are like, in Canada, it's like $50-$55. And you can get the pay-per-view anywhere else in the world. You get it for $20 US. Plus a whole bunch of other shit. Plus Ring of Honor, plus live Dynamite and Collision, and holy fuck. So and this is essentially the Triller AEW Plus offer. The AEW Plus offer that was on Triller. This is essentially what it was. And this is even cheaper than having AEW Plus and then buying the pay-per-view at a discount. Like it all rounds out to be a better deal than what you're using on Triller right now. It's crazy. And then on top of that, you can subscribe for the year. You get a big discount, and you get the whole 9 yards for a yearly subscription. Hey, listen, $120 for all of AEW's pay-per-views, and the 4 Ring of Honor ones. If you really want to consider that like part of the value, as opposed to or more so as opposed to seeing it as an extra. I see it more as an extra. Like, it's not the meal. It's like, oh, a side of fries. It's like, I'm paying for the meal. Oh, and I'm getting a side of fries. I want this burger, right? The burger is the main attraction. The burger is what I want, with all the trimmings on it and on, so on and so forth. Cooked the way I like, with the right ingredients in there, the right amount of condiments. Oh, and by the way, I also get fries. That's how I feel about Ring of Honor in this situation. And then it's a crazy deal. And you have to look at this, and you have to be telling yourself, AEW has been listening to fan reaction in regards to the main complaint from WWE fans that their product is the product is now overpriced. It costs too much money to go to the shows live. You even have, who was it? Was it Mark Shapiro? I think, right? We talked about it last time on stream last week. Mark Shapiro was talking about how the ESPN is overpriced. Might be pricing people out, and that's why not many people are subscribing. You gotta believe that AEW has its ear to the ground, and they're like, yeah, okay. Well, we'll make something affordable, at least for the international markets. We'll make these things priced a little more elegantly so that people don't feel like they're getting gouged. That has to be part of the strategy at some point. Of course, it's not necessarily, it's not the case in the US or Canada, but the point still stands. WWE goes to any other of these countries, right? Goes to the EU, goes to the UK, and everything is, the tickets are insanely priced. Anyway, so you got all that set up, and that's on one hand, that's definitely something that needed to be pointed out. Now, what's motivating AEW into doing this? I think there's two reasons. Reason number one, Triller is shit. Not the service in and about itself. It works. You pay Triller the money. They'll deliver the pay-per-view. They'll fulfill it. They'll send you the pay-per-view and you can watch it live. I've never had any issues with Triller. The question with Triller has never been whether it's a technologically sound platform or not. I think it's always worked well for me. I've never had an issue with Triller. It's more of a question that, well, Triller is not in a good spot business-wise. We talked about this months ago, and it's still the case. Triller is not doing well and hasn't been doing well for a while. Its price stock is in the gutter, and the word going around is that Triller is not paying people. They're not paying the cut that they owe to the promoter who is putting their stuff up on Triller. They don't have money. That's why. Because they don't have money. So it's kind of crazy. So it's kind of crazy on that front. And look, let's take a look, like Triller stock price. I look at this, 20 fucking cents USD. 20 cents. It went down to 16. Little less than, just before 6 months ago, right? It was down to 16 cents. It's at 20 cents. This is preposterous stuff, folks. This is preposterous stuff. So, it's not going well. And I think the writing's on the wall as it comes to Triller. It does seem very high to buy all that debt. I still think they're going to get picked up for pennies on the dollar. They're going to get picked up by someone for, for cheap. It's not, and it's going to continue. I think that it's going to, I don't know. Look, I don't know exactly how, but like, it's not just going to die away. I'm convinced there's some tape libraries, there's some assets there that people would like to pick up. So if anything, if it's not Triller itself that gets rescued, it's the content, right? That'll be something else. But that's for another discussion. But the point is that, AEW is probably just fed up of having to deal with these people internationally and not getting paid, which would lead me to believe that internationally, AEW has to be doing pretty well. If AEW is ready to invest in its own solution to reach out to the international markets all by themselves without having an intermediary, that would be, I think that's a sign that in general, they probably make a decent amount of money off of the international pay-per-view buys. That would be my guess. Of course, it's important for them to maintain a presence internationally as well. I think that's significant for them as well. And you look at the countries that they're launching in. You're like, okay, all right, that's we'll make that happen. We'll go. We haven't been to the Philippines yet, or Pakistan, or Brazil, or South Africa. We haven't been to any of those places yet, but India. But maybe this is what we want to. This is what we want to crack into. Maybe there's enough of a taste. Anyway, that's the first reason, I think. The second reason is a little more speculative. Much more, not that the first one was an absolute assurance, but there's the Triller reason has legs to it. It's a lot more grounded. But when it comes to my second reason, now we can be a little more speculative. Now we can wonder a little more as to whether or not this is AEW future-proofing themselves from anything that'll happen once the sale of Warner Bros. Discovery happens. I mean, the sale is apparently done, but we were told that it was done with Netflix too, right? So we're not going down that road again. But when it finally becomes reality, when the ink has dried and the money has exchanged hands, once that happens and Warner Bros. Discovery exists for someone else, who knows what's going to happen with AEW? And I'm not the dooming kind when it comes to AEW's future. You guys and gals, non-binary pals, know this. I, au contraire, have an outlook of the media landscape is way too crazy for anyone to sit down and predict how things are going to go to begin with. And most importantly, AEW, even if they do get kicked off of Warner Bros. Discovery, they are going to be fine. They're going to find another home, and they're going to be embraced in that new home. And AEW is going to continue delivering the product that they have with the same amount of money that they're going to be getting, because, it's a tremendously successful brand. No matter how many times you have people talking about how, this is the death of AEW, how many times Eric Bischoff keeps telling you that AEW is going to fail within the year and all of that. They're all doing the Monday Night Wars garbage. And if any of them had sense, if any of them had a brain in their heads, they just flat out say, look, they're the number 2 brand. They'll never be WWE. You can say that. But they're a successful brand. This is a successful wrestling promotion. We have not had a second national wrestling promotion to ever be successful this successful in decades. Okay? Decades. And they are successful. It is working out. It's not dying away. It is in a really good spot. So whatever happens with Warner Bros. Discovery, like I said, they're going to be fine. Now, if they want to, if Tony is like, look, I'm future-proofing myself just in case legitimately like the worst case scenario happens and I get shut out of everything and nothing's working, I will at least still have this. I will have directed my fan base years ahead of time to start working on, subscribing, I should say, to this channel so that they know that myaew.com with this subscription will give them access to everything they love about AEW, regardless of where we end up. Because if, in a couple of years, Tony ends up and he doesn't have his media deal set up, he's going to open up the valves on the US stuff here. That's all turned off on Brendan's table here. He's going to turn on the standalone pay-per-views and all the subscription models as well, all the tiers. Boom, boom, boom. He's going to turn them all on. They were turned on, by the way, earlier today. There was a very short window in which U.S. Citizens could subscribe, have monthly subscriptions to myaew.com, but that was pulled away very quickly because clearly that was a mistake. Because, I'm sure everyone understands, but we're just going to say it just to make sure everyone is on the same wavelength. They're not offering pay-per-views on myaew.com because they have an exclusivity with HBO Max. And that's what, even though their pay-per-views are distributed on other platforms elsewhere, they're contractually obligated to only mention HBO Max. That's why. So I hope I'm just making sure we're all on the same wavelength here. I'm assuming you're all sitting there nodding and going, yes, Warren, we're not fucking morons. Okay, great. I didn't think you were a moron either. I'm just trying to be accommodating, just not taking for granted that you're all in my head here. So this is how I feel. This is how I feel about it, right? And I don't necessarily feel like it's a situation either where Tony Khan is being outwardly aggressive either towards Warner Bros. I don't think, I've seen people say, oh, shots fired. I don't know. I don't believe that. I legitimately don't believe that it's a shots fired situation. Tony Khan has bent over backwards to maintain a strong, solid relationship with Warner Bros. Discovery. He's put over David Zaslav time and time again, how much of a great boss he is. And even before that, Tony's been very open about how great the relationship is with Warner Bros. Discovery. It's probably even impeded the high level nature of the relationship. I think it's even impeded on Tony finding a broadcast partner for Ring of Honor, because Tony has alluded time and time again that he's been looking for the right partner. He's been looking for the right place. And to me, that means that he's looking for someone within the Warner Bros. Discovery family so that it doesn't cause any friction, so that they don't get upset because Tony's taking properties elsewhere. He wants to keep the relationship nice and smooth. Don't forget, Warner Bros. Discovery owns a little sliver of All Elite Wrestling. So why would you do this kind of stuff to upset someone who has a stake in your company? I don't think that it is a shots fired type of situation. I'm sure everyone is comfortable with what's happening. I'm pretty sure Tony Khan didn't just release this without talking about it first, without informing his business partners, in the media sphere, of what he was going to do. I'm sure everyone was like, okay, you can do this as long as you stick to the terms of our contract where, in the US, it's exclusive this, exclusive that, and for Canada and so on and so forth, right? As long as you stick with that, you can go play anywhere else you want. That's fine. And I think it's really that type of situation that's been that's in place now. Why would Tony suddenly turn around and start being aggressive, or combative with Warner Bros. Discovery at this point, especially since he said recently that he's thrilled. He was thrilled that that Paramount was going to pick up Warner Bros. Discovery. He's on the record. That's the word he used. So it doesn't quite that theory that he's doing it to take shots at Warner Bros. Doesn't quite jive with me. It could. Who knows? What happens in the tippy top penthouses of the tallest buildings in Chicago. Wherever, Los Angeles, who knows what kind of machinations that could be going down. But I really do think that it's more of a future-proofing situation where he's more like, we're taking control of things, and he wants to create more content, and he wants to put more things out there. Like one of the things that they're promising is a podcast network on All Elite, on My AEW. He's putting together a podcast network. Of course, they're going to do the Will Washington, Aubrey Edwards one, right? They'll probably do Adam Cole and Evil Uno's gaming thing, right? Maybe they'll get a couple of others. Maybe they'll give me a call. Who knows? They want to create some original content for My AEW as well. Look, it's a very interesting move, and I think that the main reason that they did this is legitimately future-proofing. I think it also shows at the same time that they're having trouble landing international media deals. Because they've probably tried, they've probably reached out there to try and solidify some media deals, certainly in the UK. But they're not able to clamp anything down, apparently. So this is one way of going about it. This is one way of doing it to get into these markets and have some kind of presence there. But I think first and foremost, I think the most logical answer, the most logical reason for this is just to no longer be dependent on Triller and get people to switch over. Right? I think that's what it is. And then to basically, just substitute. It's like, hey, AEW fans, what are you doing still on Triller? Look at all the cool stuff you get from us. And then you get people moving over to subscribe to your thing. And then, you feel a little more confident and you're able to gauge things and you get data and all that stuff. It'll be, we'll see how long this lasts. I don't want to sit here and doom and gloom and whatnot, but okay. If the number one promotion in the world, armed with decades of archival footage, with pay-per-views that are legitimate household names, could not create and could not sustain its own streaming service, why do we think AEW is going to be able to pull it off? And no disrespect, right? I'm just wondering why. If WWE could not keep the WWE network with all of its resources, with the decades of content that it has, with the tape libraries of WCW, ECW, the territories, everything, and they could not keep the WWE network a thing, What makes us so sure that myew.com is going to be able to succeed? It's a question I'm just putting out there. I don't have the answer because I don't have a crystal ball, because I'm not, future sight Warren. I haven't, I don't drive a DeLorean. I can't tell you. I don't know. But I can't help but ask myself the question. Scratch my chin. And honestly, I hope someone in media at some point, with one of the multiple media calls that Tony does, I hope someone asks him that question. I hope someone, and it's not even, I don't even think it's an insulting question. I think it's a very legitimate question to ask. Look, WWE, with everything that they had at their access, with all the content that they produced, they could not sustain this. They could not make it sustainable. What makes you think you'll be able to do it? I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear that. Because the fast channel is neat, but that's not going to pay the bills. That being said, didn't mention this at all, but the fast channel really fucking rocks. The fast channel is such a good idea, and I don't understand why we don't have access to it in Canada. Why do the Americans have access to the fast channel, but we don't? Why is that? But the fast channel is such a great idea, because a fast channel is just a passive way to make money. It is the most passive. If you have a content library, that's what you do. You just let it roll. People just watch it, and you squeeze in some ads in there, and it's fine. Everyone got real upset a few months ago when Warner Bros. Discovery decided to take all the Cartoon Network shows off of HBO Max. They were going, oh, they're erasing the storied history of animation at Warner Bros. And so on and so forth. But now they went and dropped them all on Tubi. All of the shows are there, like all the Looney Tunes, all the way to Dexter's Lab and the Powerpuff Girls, and it's all there. It's all on Tubi. Why? Because that's how it's a passive way to make money. People want to watch these old cartoons, and probably not as many people were watching them, but then you put them on Tubi, and whoever's watching is just generating money because of the ad space. Look, that's a really fucking good move. I'm just very disappointed. I'm just very disappointed that we don't have the fast channel in Canada. Unrelated to all of this, I have a discount available for you for NordVPN. Completely unrelated. I don't know why no, there's no relation to what we were talking about, but link is in the description below. You don't need a special offer code or nothing. You just click the link, head on over for 75% off your first few months of NordVPN. Just hit the link in the description below. Yeah, it's completely unrelated. Anyway, yeah, so that's it. Look, I welcome myaew.com. I welcome it. I'm very excited to see what it's going to look like, and how it's going to develop. I'm, legitimately curious. Let's go see what y'all have to say. Big Man Dogs, nice to see you, man. Welcome to the chat, brother. It's good to see you. And Pedro the Fifth, nice to see you too. Welcome. Okay, I'm scrolling up here. Okay, I'm trying to zero in quickly on some good stuff here. Let me see. I think we have to go up higher, even higher. We have to keep going higher. Okay, around here. Yeah, I don't think anyone had this on their radar. I think it's it's something that took a lot of surprised a lot of people here, for sure. I did like the Triller broadcast of Dynamite, no commercials or pip. I think these broadcasts are going to be that. No picture in picture, no commercials. I think that these broadcasts are going to be exactly that. Because they're very likely not going to broadcast the same ads as they do on HBO Max or on TNT TBS on international markets. I am convinced about that. I just saw a Tony Storm ad for this My AEW thing, and it makes up for that god awful PR piece Warren read. Well, you know. At the same time, you don't want Tony Storm writing your PR pieces. Well, that'd be fun, Warren. Yeah, you don't. You really don't, trust me. Michael Vasquez, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Wrestling Grift Pod has already declared it as a sign that AEW is in trouble. Anything AEW does is a sign that AEW is in trouble. But they are about to legitimately sell out a Revolution this weekend. You know, and they're doing fantastic week-to-week numbers. But somehow this company is failing all the time. It's always failing. Embraced Grand Slam Japan, brother. You just gave me the vapors. But that would mean that Tony Khan needs to go to Japan, and he's never been to Japan. Maybe this is the time. Maybe this is his first time. Maybe this is the time that he finally goes to Japan. No, he was not there for Wrestling Dynasty. He was not there. If they went to HBO internationally, I wish they went to HBO internationally because I already have HBO. Guess that didn't work out. They probably tried. I think it's just TK realizing Triller's on the way out. Very fair chance. There's a very fair chance I'm overthinking it. But I think the main motivator behind this is definitely, oh, Triller stinks. Triller's gonna die. I'm hitting the bricks, baby. But he must also be at the same time going, yeah, and then, you know, if I ever get fucked over, I'm not completely screwed. Yeah, it basically replicates the Triller offering. I think mostly about that and unveiling a fast. I think it's mostly about that and unveiling a fast network. I think me overthinking something. If TK was smart, they would have watch along personalities, shit like that. Sad as it sounds, but that's marketing at that point. You know, take the fucking watch alongs away from the goobers who do them online. There's so many people who make so much money just sitting there filming themselves reacting to wrestling shows. And look, I don't understand why people do it. I don't understand why people watch it, is what I'm trying to say. And if you're an enjoyer, that's fine. You enjoy what you want to enjoy. You know, the world is vast and diverse. We can have all sorts of little idiosyncrasies about each other. Okay. But I don't understand why people want to sit there and watch people react to someone watching a thing. I don't understand that. Now, if you have AEW wrestlers there and, you know, doing wrestler things, that could be fun. I think that's fun. There should be something involving AEW happening at all times across every possible platform. Everywhere, all the time. Also, it looks good for other potential buyers. Look, AEW owns all this infrastructure. So if we buy them, we don't have to make all this. Agreed. If ever the partnership with Warner Bros. Discovery has to end, they can tease another suitor. bring back AEW All Access featuring Britt Baker. It's been said that AEW will use subscriber numbers as leverage for international TV deals. For real. Absolutely. Absolutely. Grand Slam Japan, sign me up, especially if it's at the Wrestling Church. Imagine the images from there. It'd be great. If you're going to do watch-alongs, it'd be better to have that stuff on YouTube, Twitch, or anywhere else for free. No one is subscribing for React vids. I mean, I don't even know why people watch React vids in the first place, so. You know. Mike McCullough, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Thank you for the wonderful comments. Not sure if you mentioned it, but I read the fine print. You don't get the current month's pay-per-views until 90 after it goes live. You get the current month's pay-per-view. It's the you get the current month's pay-per-view and it stays with you for and the past 90 days of pay-per-views. It's something like that, right? But you do get the live pay-per-view. And you get you get a rewatch, and I think and then it's like 90 days. Oh, you're saying you don't get okay, I'm sorry. What you're saying is you don't get the replay 90 days after. You don't get the replay until 90 days after. You don't get the replay even the next day? That's really interesting. Because I did not see that. I'll check that out. I'll take your word for it, Mike McCullough. Thank you for bringing that up. Here's a question I have. Can you tell me what kind of miracles and mountains that need to be moved to unite partners, CMLL, New Japan, and Stardom? I'd pay $39.99 for that, maybe more. Well, the thing is that they all of these people have their own streaming, stuff, right? New Japan, Stardom, CMLL uses YouTube. So they're already all set up. I mean, you can probably get a little content here and there, right? You know, maybe not all of the stuff, but you know, you can get a few things here and there, I'm sure. The way I read it, you get the replay for the month and then you go into the vault for 90 days, but the language was a little ambiguous. There's always one of these, have you noticed that every time the pay-per-view stuff on any of the, like, it was the same thing with HBO Max. There was just confusion every single time. There's always things that are not clear. You know, it's not that hard to be clear with your language. It's really not all that difficult. If you're being ambiguous, it's because you haven't figured it out yet. Jesus Christ. Yeah, we'll see what happens with the 90 days thing. Anyway, that was topic number 1. Let's go back to our docket. Thank you again, everyone, for being here. We got a nice, hefty group hanging out here tonight. I appreciate it. Leave a like on the stream if you haven't already, and I'll give you nice little pecks on the cheek. Speaking of Ring of Honor and AEW and streaming and all of that, Tony Khan has announced that they're going to be staying in Jacksonville moving forward. This is a bit of news that might be a little old by now, but I did want to talk about it. It's been a while that I've tried to talk about it and I couldn't. And here's where we're at right now. But let's talk about it. Let's just read the article here off of the Figure 4 Online Wrestling Observer. During Sunday's tapings at WJCT Studios, Tony Khan came out and announced that Jacksonville was the new home of Ring of Honor, and the promotion would be returning to the building on March 22nd for another set of tapings. WJCT is the PBS affiliate in Jacksonville. Look at that, Tony Khan supporting public broadcasting. AEW listed the tapings last week where tickets to the show were free. On Sunday, March 1st, Ring of Honor storms into WJCT Studios in Jacksonville, Florida for a special afternoon of Honor Club tapings, and you can be there live for free, the website said. Fill out your registration form for up to 4 free tickets and have the stars of Ring of Honor bring you out of your seat with incredible action that only they can deliver. Since Tony Khan's purchase of the promotion, Ring of Honor has I'm trying to go through this too quickly. Since Tony Khan's purchase of the promotion, Ring of Honor has mainly taped prior to or after AEW's television shows airing each Thursday on Honor Club. Bandito, the current Ring of Honor World Champion, is scheduled to wrestle Andrade El Idolo at AEW Revolution on March 15. He has been out of action since February with a minor injury. All right. Just a few quick pithy thoughts here. This is probably the best thing for Ring of Honor to do, is just to settle into a studio and become studio wrestling. Look, I've been to multiple live events, Dynamite live events. The Ring of Honor segments are, when it's at the start of the show, because I've experienced both, right? I've experienced the at the start of the show and at the end of the show. At the start of the show, well, you're arriving. They usually tape for an hour before bell time, so you're landing at the building. You're finding your seat. You're maybe seeing a couple of people. Shaking hands and waving and saying hi to folks, and maybe you're going to the concessions, and maybe you're going to check out the merch table. It is what it is. But then when they do it at the end, and sometimes they would even tape Collision, and then you're like, holy shit, like this is like, it gets a little long in the tooth, and especially after Dynamite, because once you're done with the Dynamite, whether there's a Collision or not, if you're doing Ring of Honor after Dynamite, there's no reason to stick around. You have seen all of your favorites already. All the stars that you wanted to see have already done their thing. You've seen Kenny Omega, you've seen Will Ospreay, or back then with Bryan Danielson and Hangman Page and CM Punk. You've seen them already. Who's going to stick around after? What are you watching? Who's keeping you in your seats for Ring of Honor after? Well, not much. Again, no disrespect, but it ain't Diamante that's going to do it for me. I don't know. It is what it is. I think that logistically, it's a much better setup, and it's going to likely be a lot less costly, because then that means that there's going to be less people traveling on the road. So, less people to hook up with flights and stuff like that. It's going to be a much smoother operation if you're not flying in the Ring of Honor talent at the same time. So to me, it makes a lot of sense. Economically speaking, production wise, I think it's a smarter move overall. Running tickets for free in Jacksonville. I mean, look, these are the advantages you have when you're a billionaire. When you're a billionaire, you can go like, yeah, you know what? I can give, I don't know how many seats you put in there, 200, 150, 200 people in there, 100. I don't know. It's like, I can absorb 100 free tickets. That's not that big a deal. you know, like who cares? Now, I have watched, because I did want to see this. I watched last week's debut in the studio environment, and I want to preface this by saying I like studio wrestling. I like studio wrestling a lot. It's a great throwback. And when the NWA came back pre-pandemic with NWA Power, man, that really was good. That was a good setup that they had there. It was tremendous. And I thought it was awesome because it added so much flavor. It added so much flavor to the proceedings that you didn't see anywhere else. No one else was shooting wrestling for television, or in this case for YouTube, but bear with me. No one was shooting wrestling like that. And it made the product feel different, made it feel fresh, made it feel out of the ordinary. So when Eddie Kingston would run up to cut an angry promo, you know, at the podium thing, that you're like, oh shit, yeah. And he's in front of the crowd and the crowd is screaming. And you're like, yeah, this rules. This is great. This is great. It was all really good. So I was looking forward to seeing what it would look like. And let's take a look at a little clip here in case you haven't seen. I mean, they've been circulating quite a bit. And this is the, I don't think I'll get, we're about to find out if AEW Ring of Honor is as harsh with their copyrights as WWE is. But you've got Sydney Akeem here, and I think that's Commander, I believe, right? Wait, didn't I mute this? I want to mute the audio. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, this is not great. I'm not gonna lie, folks. That's not fun. This is not a good look. You know, this looks very generic. It is what it is, you know, but holy smokes, like, what are we doing? Like, I'm not a fan of the big white wall here with the red lights being shot on it. I don't think it's all that great. You know, the big empty blackness here is weird in contrast to that. You know, there shouldn't be areas where there's no life. You know, and I know, I think it's over off this way. I believe they have a little setup, you know, they have a little production set up there that they can include. But I find that the way that they're shooting, the way that they shot Ring of Honor here made it come across it. Let me say that again. I feel like they were shooting this episode of Ring of Honor as if it was in any normal large venue or larger venue. When in fact, in this area where they are here, the venue is smaller. So it's more intimate. So they have to shoot it in a more intimate way. You know, when you're doing shots like this, like maybe not this one here, but where, yeah, like this here, where there's a lot of overhead. You know, you're usually doing this because you want to be able to pick up some audience at the same time, right? You want to be seeing part of the audience too. I don't think it should be shot that way. I think there has to be another approach here. It has to be more focused in, more intimate, more make you feel more like you're there, as opposed to the atmosphere of the crowd, of the environment coming in to affect the show, which is what you usually want from a wrestling show, but you can't in this circumstance here. And another thing that I would change if I were them, and I would take this book straight out of NWA Power, I would buy WJCX, whatever it was, the PBS network affiliate, I'd buy them a set of bleachers and I'd just keep them there. And one of these bleachers that are retractable, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? I'd have one set of bleachers and you put the audience on one side of the camera, on your hard cam side. And that's what you see throughout the match. Instead of having just, a couple of heads here, with basically the sparse audience that you have all spread out around the ring. Instead of having that, you just have bleachers. And they don't have to be super sized. They don't have to be these huge bleachers, but at least have one, like the facing hard cam, you have rows of people just sitting there watching, applauding, cheering. Honestly, I don't see the value of a Tonytron here with the video screens, and I don't see the value of it. It's a small venue. Think smaller, think intimacy, think creating the indie experience, but with budget. That's kind of how I'd go about it, because you don't see anyone. You see a few heads scattered here and there, and instead what you're treated to is all of this, red. That's kind of it's kind of off-putting, So I'm not a fan of it. They can tweak. Yeah, of course they'll have opportunities to tweak it. I see you, chat, carrying water, coming to the defense. But nonetheless, like right now as a product, I don't think this is great. It's not a. I don't think it's an interesting look. But and I think they have to. I think they have to fundamentally rethink how to shoot for this type of audience, for a smaller audience, because they're shooting this as if there's supposed to be more people in the building, and it's not working. And listen, if I'm going to be a my AEW subscriber and I'm going to have access to Ring of Honor because of it, well, might as well tighten it up for you old boy Warren then. You know what I'm saying? But Warren, aren't you in Canada? You can't subscribe. Oh, you're right. By the way, apropos of nothing, I have a special NordVPN offer for you. The link is in the description. 75% off your first few months if you use my affiliate link. There's no codes to punch in, no special offers at checkout or whatnot. Just hit the link and you'll instantly get the offer you need. This looks more like a TNA or MLW show that didn't draw, not a studio show. I would even argue that MLW shows look better than this. Is that a hot take? Makes the crowd feel bigger and livelier rather than the same handful spread out. Exactly. Bring them all together, and it will also help the audience get into it too. That's how crowd energies work, right? It's like you have people around you cheering, you're going to be into it more. Yeah, it doesn't look like they have 100 people there, but I don't know. Like I don't know what the 360 looks like. It's probably not 100. It's most definitely not 100. They have to rethink how they present wrestling in Ring of Honor for now. They really have to think it over, because they're, I'm repeating myself, but they're really going about it as if it's in a big venue, just the typical production, and you can't do that. Not in this circumstance. The thing is, the reason the NWA studio worked for me wasn't just the venue, was the authentic and the types of segments they did do. Yes, it was a full-on callback, and it worked. But this, like the studio component, because it's like, you had the ring, right? If you recall, right? You had the ring, you had the bleachers on the opposite hard cam, and then the wrestlers made their entrance here, and then right to the left, if you're facing the entrance, the wrestler's entrance, just off to the left, that's where you had the interview section, right? So you had the setup where you had Dave Marquez and the what's the word I'm looking for? The fucking place to do interviews. Anyway, like the whole thing was there. They was all set up to do interviews there. And so everything was in the same room. And then you had on the other side, then you had commentary. So everything sort of existed within this very small universe. And sometimes wrestlers, especially when they fight outside the ring and whatnot, you'd see the interview area. So everything would just be a part of that universe. These would all be places you'd recognize. Be like, oh yes, okay. So it would all be familiar, and it'd be so much cooler. Because you'd just be able to pick up on all these set elements. It felt like you knew the place. And I think one of the reasons why it worked is because you develop a familiarity with that environment as well. It's kind of like this, to some degree, it's like The Simpsons and the city of Springfield, right? Where eventually you get to know all sorts of spots in Springfield, and it's just like it's home. That you've been to these places, you know where they are. They're familiar to you, as familiar as they are for the characters living in that world. It's the same type of thing. It's just everything connects, and familiarity can go a long way in that circumstance. Yeah. Lucha Underground's another very good example of that. That's a really good example. All right, let's keep this train rolling here. Are we talking contracts? Are we talking contracts and people getting hired, rehired, fired, released? Whatever. Let's go. Kevin Knight re-signs with AEW. Wait a second. Are you telling me his contract was up? Apparently. Good for you, Kevin Knight, for shutting your mouth and not leaking this stuff into the world. Fightful Select is reporting that Kevin Knight has recently re-signed with the company. He signed a 1-year contract at the start of 2025, but the new contract is now a multi-year deal. It was noticed that Knight is highly regarded within the company. Oh, you don't say. I could never tell. Knight, 29, got his break in pro wrestling as a young lion when he joined New Japan Pro Wrestling in 2020, training at the company's dojo in LA. During his time in the company, he teamed with Kushida, where they held the IWGP Junior Tag Team titles on 2 occasions. What were they called? Intergalactic Jet Setters, right? That was their name. Intergalactic Jet Setters. In January of 2025, Knight chose to leave New Japan and joined AEW, where he and Speedball Mike Bailey quickly formed their Jet Speed tag team, wrestling some of the top teams in the company. They, along with Hangman Adam Page, beat the Ops back in January to win the AEW Trios titles. They proceeded to lose those titles on this week's Dynamite after Don Callis demanded an impromptu title match. Kazuchika Okada, Kyle Fletcher, and Mark Davis emerged as the new champions, pinning Knight. So, so here's my analysis of the situation. Kevin Knight has lost 2 times in one night. He's been buried. His career is unsalvageable at this point. It's a flat out burial. He's dead. He lost 2 times in one night, and there's clearly no real plans for him. It's not as if they give him interview time. It's not as if if only they gave him interview time. If only they gave him like a title, that he might have shared, within a team, a tag team, or a trio or something. If only they had they had given any signs of any interest in Kevin Knight, but no, he has these segments with Swerve Strickland, one, if only, is Swerve Strickland really one of the top guys in the company? That's my analysis. Good night, everyone. Thank you for coming to the stream. I'm a professional wrestling pundit. All right. Jokes aside. I didn't know. I don't think anyone knew his contract was coming up. And of course you're going to re-sign Kevin Knight. Jesus Christ. like folks, we're comparing him to Mike Bailey because they're a tag team. They came in about at the same time. They're both exciting performers and whatnot. But folks, we have to be honest with each other here. Kevin Knight's ceiling is much higher than Mike Bailey's. And I've been a Kevin Knight believer for a while. Yes, the old hipster in me is coming out, but I've been a believer in him for a while. Seeing him, break out of the young lion mold in New Japan was tremendous. Seeing him evolve, like working with Kushida early on, I'm sure did absolute wonders for him. Like, because they were a terrific tag team. And Kevin Knight has look, we know he's incredibly talented. I was talking about it last week on the review, on the Dynamite review. He's extremely talented. He's got a very high ceiling for in-ring performance. Maybe the mic work is just, needs a little fine tuning, but that's something you can work on and perfect by giving the guy a mic and letting him work it, which he has been doing recently. Cutting promos in the ring, cutting promos with MJF, and they're not having him cut promos, bouncing off of Marina Shafir. They're going up, they're giving Kevin Knight MJF to bounce off of. So, there's stuff going on there. He's really good. I like this guy has always been a prospect, and I think he's growing into a role. Tony is slow burning this guy right now, and I am as many people are right now. I am of the opinion that he's on the cusp of a big singles push, and that will come in the form of him turning on Mike Bailey, and I think he's going to join Swerve Strickland as a second. He's going to be, I don't know if you've noticed, chat, but for the past couple of weeks, Nana's been coming out with, embassy stuff, right? Like just this week on Dynamite, he came out, he had a towel and was written the embassy on it, right? So are we dropping hints that we're reforming the embassy or the mogul embassy, right? Are we dropping hints that this is what we're doing? And have we set some breadcrumbs all the way back when Swerve Strickland gave Kevin Knight, that little, hey, don't give up, kid speech? Has this been the path we've been on since, very discreetly, slowly going down this road? I think Kevin Knight as a heel could be really, really interesting. You got to try it. You got to try it. I think there's a lot of good stuff in this. And look, if we're coming back to the signing, because that's ultimately the news, and we're going off track a little bit with speculation and whatnot. This is a no-brainer. You re-sign Kevin Knight and you lock this guy down, and this guy's got a really promising future, and he's got an extremely high ceiling, and it is all up to Kevin Knight to live up to that ceiling. This is where we're at right now, right? Because I'm not going to sit here and say, oh yes, he is an absolute lock to be a top guy, and I think that's what a lot of people don't understand when a lot of wrestling observers, not just the Wrestling Observer, but when a lot of Wrestling analysts will say, it's like, this guy's ceiling is really high. He's got all the makings to be a world champion. And then the person doesn't turn out to be a world champion. It's like, you thought he was going to be a world champion. I said, no, he's got the stuff to be a world champion. He's got the stuff to be a top guy, but it's entirely up to him or her. It's entirely up to that person to live up to the expectation or not, or to live up to their talent. It's not even a question of expectation. So does Kevin Knight have the drive? We're about to find out. And that's exciting. We're going to find out sooner than later this year whether or not Kevin Knight has the drive to be a top singles guy in the company. I'm very much looking forward to the Kevin Knight push. Yeah, see, a lot of people say, "Oh, the big swerve." No, it's Mike Bailey joining the embassy, and I'm like, come on, folks, think about it for just a second, okay? I want you to think about this for a second. Mike Bailey, lovely French-Canadian young lad, okay, with his fucking mullet and his shaved, his shaved sides and his geek gear, joining the embassy with Swerve Strickland, whose entire thing is, I'm so fucking cool and I will surround myself only with cool people. Come on now. Come on. Now, yes, Mike Bailey has been a heel. We've seen him he's a good heel. But also at the same time, people really like Mike Bailey. And Mike Bailey he's a good force for positivity too. Stands up for a lot of causes that a lot of people feel attached to. I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily, anyway. Sometimes you don't have to work all that hard for a swerve. Sometimes you just have to do what you need to do, right? Are we getting Trench back? God, I hope. I think I'm the only person who wants to see Trench again because it's just way too funny. We haven't even discussed the biggest AEW star yet, Tekla. Oh boy, brother. Tekla's amazing. He does have a lot more clear potential than some other guys who have gotten huge pushes that felt like they were never going to be worth the squeeze. He's got a tremendous upside. He has huge upside. Trench, Parker, Kabeel, the best in the pantheon of leaving before they finished saying hello. Trench was never given a fair shake. Parker Boudreaux was given more of a fair shake. Remember when he was in that group? Oh shit! It was with Sonny Kiss. Sonny Kiss and Slim J, and wasn't it Arya Davari who was in there too? And it was like, do you remember this? I'm not dreaming this, right? Sonny Kiss was in this group. Sonny Kiss, Slim J, I think Arya Davari, the Trust Busters. Exactly. Thank you, chat. The Trust Busters. I love that. I unironically love that group. I unironically loved it. And the conglomeration, the Trust Busters walked so the conglomeration could run. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, see, Mike Bailey is a good person. He's the definition of a babyface. We have to stop trying to think that we're smarter than everyone else. And it's like, oh, but I think this, no. Like the obvious play here and the better play, if you're going to turn anyone heel in this group here, it's is turning our boy Kevin Knight here. Blake Christian is all elite. I mean, we all pretty much knew. I don't think this comes as a shock, but following collision on Saturday night in Tucson, where Christian and his tag partner Lee Johnson participated in the $200,000 four-way tag team match, Tony Khan posted to social media that Christian is officially all elite. Khan wrote, The Swirl, Vanilla Baby, Blake Christian, and Big Shotty Lee had another excellent showing on Saturday's AEW Collision tonight. And now it's official, Blake Christian is all elite. The other member of The Swirl, Lee Johnson, received his all elite graphic from AEW all the way back in February 2021. Johnson is listed on the AEW wrestling roster page, while Christian does not currently have a profile on the page. I think that's been fixed since this article has been printed. As a reminder, right, Christian had a brief run in WWE as Trey Baxter, where he was released from the company that November and made his debut on an episode of Dark the following March. The only thing I remember from the Blake Christian NXT run, because I was still watching at that time, was him. He was one of the guests of the wedding of Indy Hartwell and mute serial killer guy, Sam Shepard. Well, what did they call Dexter Loomis? It was, and he was one of the guests there, and he said something. They did the forever hold your peace thing, and he said something, and I don't remember what, but I remember laughing out loud, saying, "Okay, that was actually really funny," but I don't remember what he said. Anyway, that just goes to show you. That just goes to show you. But right, like wasn't 205 Live still around at that point? And a lot of people were thinking, oh, he's going to end up on 205 Live and whatnot. And then they killed 205 Live too. And look, it doesn't matter. Look, Blake Christian has always been, the thing with Blake Christian is that he's always been a terrific pro wrestler. He's always been a terrific professional wrestler. What he has never been able to what had been keeping him back was his presence, his look, his hair. We all remember the instances, the multiple instances of Blake Christian doing things with his hair. Okay. Like this is probably like the least savage thing that he's ever done with his hair, right? This is probably the most controllable, right? And there's just always been something that it's always just like kept them back from creating like a big time crowd connection. Like he's one of these guys that you have a tendency to say he's a perfect small room guy. And then when he moves on to working the big times and in the big rooms and whatnot, he doesn't project enough to be perceived as a big time pro wrestler. So he had a lot of, I hate to use it this way because it sounds very, very condescending, but I don't want it to be. He's very small room energy. And I think that's always been something that's held him back, right? That's always been something that's held him back from actually having an outright crowd connection. Do I think it's perfect now? No. But I do think he's improved. I do think I don't think he's in the same awkward spots that he was many moons ago. And I think he's also switched up his I think something also significant that he's done is that he switched up his arsenal a bit so that the stuff that he does a lot of things. Let me say that again. He doesn't do as many risky things now as opposed to when he started working AEW a little more. And what I mean by risky things is not things that would put him in danger, but things that required a little more connection and understanding, a little more charisma between you and your opponent, where he tries to do things that he do a lot on the indies and would just fire off without a hitch. But somehow just didn't translate as well doing them in an AEW ring for multiple reasons, right? There could be multiple reasons. And I think refocusing his arsenal of moves to do things that he'll be more confident are going to land is good. And it hasn't taken away the spectacular shit that he does either, right? Like he doesn't do the moonsault into the slop drop anymore, because, or at least I haven't seen him all that much, because that's something that when he hits it looks great, but when it fumbles, when it flops, it just looks like shit. So all these little things that he's done, I think are good. And yeah, I mean, look, all the more power to him. I'm glad. We all knew he was part of the fabric in one way or another. It was just a question of time, but good for him that he got his graphic. I said small room energy. So do we see Blake in AEW or his Ring of Honor, his speed? That's an excellent question. As it stands right now, I don't see how he fits right now in AEW. And here's the thing too. And again, I really don't want this to come across as condescending or whatnot, but not everyone in wrestling can be a top guy. Not everyone can be a winner. And when you're a promoter, sometimes you need guys who can just go out there and lose. And maybe that's going to be his lot as well. Now, he's a terrific heel. I think he's a very good heel. He's got great heel mannerisms. I think he has a way to rub the crowd the wrong way. Yeah, and I agree. I think Blake Christian also knows he's not a top guy. He's going to be slotted in a role. This is my prediction. He's going to be slotted in a role, and he's going to be comfortable in that role, and he's going to do that role to the best of his ability. Like he'll probably be like, okay, you want me to be a plumber type of player, then I'm going to be the best goddamn plumber that the world has ever seen, and we're going to remember him for that. I think that's probably going to be. I heard projecting yourself is the new wrestling word of 2026. Is it? Oh no. Am I going to have to get rid of another word of my vocabulary because the insufferable people are going to be using it too much? Like aura. I'm very disappointed that I can't use aura anymore. Still on the AEW news, Tony Khan says Penelope Ford could be out for weeks, possibly months. Fucking sucks, dude. Article off of postwrestling.com. It appears it will be a while before Penelope Ford can make an in-ring return. AEW president Tony Khan released a video on social media ahead of Collision on Saturday, providing an update on Ford's status. Khan did not specify the injury Ford suffered. This is what he said here. Penelope Ford, it looks like, unfortunately, will be out with an injury, maybe for weeks, possibly up for months. Ford suffered what was reported to be an ankle injury during a tag match on Dynamite on February 26. It was suspected that she suffered the injury when attempting a moonsault off the top rope to the outside. The match between the Babes of Wrath and Megabad ended abruptly when Lena Cross disqualified the challengers by attacking Willow Nightingale with a title belt. Collision featured Megan Bain teaming up with Lena Cross to defeat the Timeless Love Bombs. Ford had recently returned from injury, coming back in January after spending a few months away from the ring due to a torn UCL. This fucking sucks for Penelope Ford. Like, regardless of how you feel about her and how much you like her, how much you enjoy her work, it fucking sucks. Out for months because of an injury, you come back, you do the moonsault, and you injure yourself again, and you might be gone for a while again. Like, come on. Like, it's stop, start. And now, like, she is clearly, right now, in the push of her career. You know, there has not been an other instance of her time in AEW in anywhere else where she has been so consistently pushed and featured and in, you know, a significant act than what she's in right now. And that blows. That legitimately blows, because she's probably at home, you know, icing her whatever and thinking to herself that this fucking sucks because this momentum is not going to last forever. You know, there's a lot of things here that really do stink. So it sucks for her. Hopefully she gets back into full operating mode very soon. Wish her the best. Hope she comes back soon. Wrestlers who don't catch opponents should be fined. I mean, look, everyone, and find the Miz. You've got an entire history. Look, here's, I know there was a big pile on Harley Cameron for you know, not living up to the situation here, but you know, look, this shit happens. This shit happens. Sometimes guys just don't catch guys. It just happens for multiple reasons, you know. And then you've got Mike the Miz, who is legendary for not catching people, and this guy's still running around collecting a paycheck and no one says a goddamn word. You know what I mean? Mike the Miz never catches anyone who dives. He never does. So, you know, then Harley Cameron gets bullied off of Twitter. Look, that being said, you know, count your blessings. You should be off Twitter regardless, Harley. Just leave Twitter. You're listening. It's fine. That someone may have given you a service right here. But, you know, I mean, this shit happens, and you know, I would assume, and I think I would assume correctly, that that Harley did not intentionally decide to not catch Penelope. You know, I also think it's a situation where whoever agents the matches need to be less ambitious than what wrestlers like Harley is told to do. That's also fair. I mean, should you be doing moonsaults if you came back from a UCL injury? Hey, Miss Convoy, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. The Convoys have got their claws out. I like Harley. I like her. She's a fine little entertainer. Not a great wrestler, but she's a fun. I enjoy the Harley Cameron more than the opposite. How about that? Do I want to see her wrestle every week? Probably not. Probably not. You know. And, you know, green as grass and doing all this kind of stuff too. And I don't know. The agents should definitely have something to say. Honestly, like, I think it's time to come back to have a full circle conversation and someone like put their foot down and say, what do agents actually do? What do agents actually fucking do? You know, especially when it comes to matches like with Hangman Adam Page and MJF, you know, or like a John Moxley match. What the agent sits down and says, okay, Mox, tell me what you're going to do. And then that agent is going to tell Mox what he can and cannot do. Like, you got to tell me what these agents do to begin with. I think as wrestling fans, because there's so much shit that gets put into the producer of the match was this guy and that gal, and then like, who fucking cares? The producer, the guy who told them, okay, the guy who sat down with these wrestlers to lay out the match, whereas these are professional wrestlers and they should be able to lay out their matches themselves. We need to come back around to the essential question is like, what do agents actually do? What are they for? Or producers, or whatever name you want to give them. I just want to know. Make it clear to me how an agent okaying this or not makes it better. The moonsault spot with Penelope Ford and Harley Cameron. How does agenting this make it better? How would this be their fault? How could they have prevented it? I just want to know. I need to understand, because I don't understand I don't understand what they're for more than ever. Anyway, let's move on. Because we've got more signings in AEW. I'm going to read this article off the Wrestling Observer Figure 4 Online. The former Ashante the Adonis is officially under AEW contract and has been for 6 months, according to Fightful Select. Tehuti Miles debuted during Saturday's Ring of Honor tapings in Jacksonville, Florida, with the outlet noting that he actually signed with AEW the first week of September. Miles hasn't wrestled anywhere since a loss to Ricky Saints last June on WWE NXT. His deal ran out on August 10 and signed with his new home a month later. It's unclear what took so long for him to make his debut or why he didn't work any indie dates. All right. The 36-year-old signed with WWE in 2019, debuting in NXT. He worked frequently on the 205 Live show and eventually was part of Hit Row. God, that feels like 50 years ago now. When you think of Hit Row, it feels like so long ago. It's still only 2019. I mean, we're getting onto a decade, but it's still not that far off. Along with Swerve Strickland, AJ Francis, and B-Fab, who is the only remaining member left within WWE. Josh, is that you? Yes, it is. Francis, and B-Fab were eventually called up to the main roster in August 2022 before returning to NXT in the summer of 24. He has never held WWE or NXT gold. Anyway, I mean, okay. I haven't seen this guy wrestle in so long. I don't know. I do not know what to add other than just saying this is news and I have no analysis to go with it. I've got no analysis. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe he's just, maybe he's, I don't know. I haven't seen him wrestle. Look, I haven't seen him wrestle in such a long time. I have no idea if he's any good anymore. I have no clue. I have no thoughts on this other than it's weird. Because, okay, here's the analysis. It's not as if Ashante the Adonis was tearing it up in WWE. It's not as if he was like this, a Javon Evans type where they're just letting him go out there and he does all this spectacular stuff week after week. And then, people that have daily podcasts on large networks, then all they do is talk about this one guy, right? It's not as if I can't help but wonder, why he would have been scooped up in the first place. This is a guy who he's never shined. He's never done anything. Do you think he might be rejoining Swerve over there in the Mogul Embassy. Anyway, that's the extent of it. I just wanted to mention that outside of the fact that it's extremely weird that he's been gone for so long, outside of that. Okay, let's go with this here. I think if we wait too long, it won't be much of a story anymore. We had a report that came out last week from Fightful Select saying that 2 wrestlers from TNA had reportedly quit the promotion. Sean Ross Sapp wrote on Thursday that Mance Warner and Steph DeLander had left the promotion. The outlet later reported on its Patreon that they were told the departures stem from TNA refusing to clear DeLander to return from injury, with DeLander having been told she would never be able to wrestle for the promotion again. The 29-year-old DeLander had been out of action since August 2024 and underwent neck fusion surgery on her C5 and C6 vertebrae that October. In January, she revealed that she was 100% healed from the procedure and ready to return to the ring. My neck is 100% healed and I have been cleared by my surgeon to return to the ring. I need guidance from a medical professional to ensure safety so I can get back to doing what I love. I have asked so many times, can anyone help me? TNA, WWE, and AEW, she had tweeted out. Fightful noted that one source in TNA wrestling believed Warner and DeLander could finish up with the promotion after the current loop of tapings. TNA is scheduled to hold television tapings at the Gateway Center Arena in Atlanta on March 6 and 7, followed by additional tapings in New Orleans, on March 27 and 28. Spoiler alert, they're not going to finish up with TNA. Because, this news sort of dropped and everyone thought it was kind of weird. And then Steph DeLander headed on to TMZ, a TMZ wrestling podcast. Apparently they have that now, to speak on her departure. And she did not hold back. She was very transparent about stuff. Steph DeLander spoke about her departure from TNA Wrestling in a new interview. She told TMZ on Thursday that TNA president Carlos Silva informed her on Monday that the company was not going to allow her to wrestle again in the promotion following her spinal fusion surgery in October 2024. She added that her surgeon has fully cleared her to return. Here's a quote here from DeLander, and it is a wild one. I actually went to WWE's spinal surgeon to do the surgeries, and I got clearance a few weeks ago, she said. I received a phone call on Monday of this week that basically they never wanted to let me wrestle at TNA again. They just didn't feel comfortable with that. So then I made the decision to leave, and my husband did too in solidarity. Daw. Good guy, Mance. DeLander said TNA made the call that they were not comfortable with her wrestling again without evaluating her medical history or speaking with her surgeon. I was like, well, I'm literally fully cleared. And he said, he being Carlos Silva, yep, not into it. And then I asked, do you know what my injury is? And he didn't know. He couldn't tell me what my injury was. What a fucking guy. This Carlos Silva, man. It's definitely based off personal feelings. I have not been evaluated by any medical professional on the TNA end. They haven't evaluated my medical history. They haven't contacted my surgeon. They haven't looked at any of my medical stuff. It's just they made a personal decision. This fucking guy, this fucking little weasel who couldn't get any fucking deals with any fucking networks until Daddy WWE, until he started cozying up with WWE so that Daddy WWE could introduce him to some people, could open some doors and make some calls. Fucking little weasel. Who always has to be on TV with his fucking off-brand cap, and has to see his face all the time, getting into the ring and putting the titles on the title winners. And so He's such a little, he's a worm. That's worm behavior. Yeah, that's a worm. That's a worm, folks. DeLander also mentioned during the interview that she had a second surgery that was not previously known, saying that her surgeon wanted to put a little more hardware in her neck. It sounds like when I used to, it sounds like me playing Cyberpunk in 2077. She said she paid for both her surgeries and physical therapy. Oh, really? Oh, you mean the company for which you worked and that you got injured working for did not spring for your surgery? Paid for both my surgeries. She said I paid for my PT for both of them. My insurance maxed out, so I currently have a $9,000 Advent Health bill sitting there. Congratulations. Good fucking job. Once again, fucking TNA, right? Who couldn't even manage to pay for Chris Bay getting fucking paralyzed. Wrestling for them. The guy had to put up a GoFundMe because his fucking company couldn't be bothered to pay his fucking health bills. And they're at it again. Like, I understand that the deal that they have right now is not the mind-blowing end-all deal that was going to truly make them into the number 2 promotion in the land. Oh, Warren, did you hear any details? Are you sure about this? Are you sure that it's not a great deal? Yes, I'm sure it's not a great deal, because if it was a great deal, the details would have been leaked. If they were making money hand over fist, let me tell you, someone would be bragging about it. But it's been complete and utter zero talk about it. There's nothing on the radar. Nothing is coming out. All that it means that it's an embarrassing deal. That's all it means. It's embarrassing. And they don't want to put it out there. It's embarrassing. And you know what? An ad split wouldn't even be embarrassing. It would not. It's actually pretty normal. When you're starting off with the new property or whatever, you sort of test the waters to see how it's going to go. Yeah, we'll go with an ad split instead of a full-on media deal. That makes a lot of sense. But all of these assholes have all been pumping up the fact, oh, they're going to get a huge deal and so on. They're going to get a huge, tremendous deal, huge media deal, and it's going to be huge. And they're going to be the number 2 promotion after this big media deal that they're going to get. Because of all of this fucking hype, now they don't want to say a single word because they didn't get the big media deal, because they got something else, and now they're embarrassed. Now they don't want to make a fool out of themselves. They'll be like, oh, we can't talk about it. We told everyone we're going to get a big media deal. I'm going to hammer this home again. I'm going to hammer this home one more time. Okay, Warren Hayes, broken record, but here we go again. It is fascinating to me that the details of this deal haven't even leaked to the trades. I'm not talking the wrestling dirt sheets. I'm talking the Hollywood trades, the Hollywood Reporter, Variety. The AEW deal was leaked to one of those two. I don't remember. I think it was the Hollywood Reporter. It doesn't matter. But usually what happens is that people who are involved with the networks on any level, they're sources to journalists at these places, at these rags, right? And, the journalist will call the sources and say, hey, you got anything for me? Anything juicy? And no one goes, oh yeah, that TNA thing? Here's what the deal looks like. I'll send it to you in the Telegram chat. None of that. It's preposterous. If it was a good deal, we'd know about it. If it was a good deal, we'd know. But they're embarrassed. And they don't want to talk about it. And no, they're not making money hand over fist. I just watched the debut on AMC, and you look at that level of production, there is not an extra single dime that has been put in any level of production. They are not making money. Back to Delander here. Delander also mentioned that she had a one level fusion, something many wrestlers have had before making full recoveries and returning to the ring. She says this following quote: "I had a 1 level cervical spinal fusion of my C5, C6 vertebrae, which is like the most basic, straightforward neck injury that so many wrestlers in WWE and AEW have had before fully recovering and returning to the ring. I did not break my neck. That's not what happened." It's so scuzzy. It's, it's like, and then to wrap it all up, well, they showed up at GCW this weekend. Good for them. Good for them. Good for both of them. You know what's actually, the fucking, I don't know how anyone outrightly like capes for this TNA organization. I don't know how anyone can put up shields and barricades and stick up for the TNA organization. Carlos Silva is such a fucking worm. He's a worm, and he's not paying for the people that work for him and get injured on his dime. That's preposterous. That is absolutely preposterous. Look, I don't know what to. I'm sure you all share the same feeling. It's all nonsense. It's all absolute fucking nonsense. So I'm glad. I'm glad she was able to get the surgery. It sucks that she's in debt. I'm showing back up in GCW. Both of them, they won't be want for work on the independents. Who knows? Old Mance showed up on an episode of Rampage all the way back. I don't know if you remember this. He showed up one night, fought John Moxley, right? They gave him a little pre-match promo. And I remember it distinctly because all the usual suspects screamed to the top of their lungs, "What's the story? Who is this guy? Why am I supposed to care? Blah, blah, blah." The usual stuff, right? It's back when Tony when Tony was not afraid to book cool matches. Now Tony's afraid to book cool matches because everything has to have a story now. Everything has to connect because he spent his time listening to fucking losers on Twitter instead of listening to his fans who would keep telling him over and over, "Tony, it's fine. It's fine. Don't listen to them. I don't need a promo package to explain to me who Mance Warner is. It's fine." Anyway, nothing came out of that. Doesn't mean they can't revisit. We'll see how it all turns out. Oh, yeah, I think we're going to cut it off here for tonight. We got a few other things, but hey, we'll talk about it maybe on Thursday, but I think this is a good moment to quit here because kind of going a little overboard here. Kind of busting through my time. My allotted time here. They kicked Finn Balor out of the Judgment Day. Okay. All right. Good. I feel so much nothing in regards to Finn Balor and anything happening in the WWE. Oh, but this is interesting though. 8,000 tickets for Double or Nothing sold out of 14K. That's awesome. That's awesome. But somehow, AEW is failing. AEW is failing, folks. Selling out more than greater than the half, more than the half of the venue's attendance capacity, and AEW's failing. Just so you know. That's tremendous. That's tremendous. And well, we'll talk about Revolution on Thursday. Remember to come back on the stream on Thursday. We're going to do a full preview of Revolution this weekend. So keep that in mind. And also maybe a little programming note real quickly. I'll talk about it on Thursday again, just to make sure, but there will not be a stream next Monday. No live stream next Monday because I will be taking that time to record my AEW Dynamite, my AEW Revolution review. That's when I'll be able to squeeze it in on my schedule. So unfortunately, no Monday stream next week, just so you know. But let me pull up the old WrestleTix here. And, or maybe I could go. Because I want to take a look, see if we haven't got an update in regards to the amount of tickets being sold this weekend. Am I in the right one? The Master, that's good. And what we're looking for is Revolution. So the capacity is 10,831 tickets for Revolution at the Crypto.com arena. And they distributed 10,100 tickets so far. Now, is that like, can they open up more seats? Because that's looking good too. That's looking real good. Did you see Delander had to cancel her dates this week? Wait a minute, she's married. Hey-oh. Come on. I swear to God, Patreon is it takes so long to load. It's preposterous. Okay. No. Yeah, it does look. Yeah, I don't think there's many other sections for them to open up. I'm looking at the map. I think the max they're going to do is 10,831, and that's going to sell out. That's going to sell out. This show's going to be a sellout. They have 731 tickets left. This show is 100% going to sell out. Look, what have we been saying? Have I been saying? For weeks now. We're getting into months territory now. In regards to AEW and its programming, it's been good. It's been consistently good to great week after week. There have been no lulls. Dynamite has been excellent. Fucking Collision again this week was great. That main event, tremendous. Plus a chaotic, awesome final angle to wrap up the show. It's been so good. It's been so fucking good. It's hot. The product is hotter. It's on an upward trajectory. It's been going well. And yeah, the first count. Oh yeah, 7,960 tickets. The current setup is for 9,537. Yeah, they're gonna burst through that. And total seats on the map 14,823. Might be an actual sellout, folks. Keep an eye on that one. But the product has been, isn't it kind of wacky and weird? Product has been good. People are tuning in. People are watching. People are buying tickets to go see your show. Isn't that wild? Isn't that weird? Isn't that strange how that goes? Anyway, I got to wrap this up. We're done for tonight. Y'all are just like keeping me on so I can talk some more. You're trying to trick me. You're trying to trick me. Thank you very much for showing up this evening. I appreciate it tremendously. You all are wonderful, lovely, huggable people, I'm assuming. But, you know, if, you know, maybe you also don't like, contact with strangers, and I will respect that. I'll be back Thursday, okay? Be back Thursday. Wednesday, MrWarrenHayes show. Thursday, late afternoon, Dynamite review. Thursday evening, right back here. And we're going to be, among other things, previewing AEW Revolution, which is this weekend. So thank you all very much for showing up. I appreciate it. Hey, Travis, where have you been, Travis? You fucking lurker. You fuck you fucking lurker. It's really aggressive. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you for being here, and have a great couple of days. We'll see you on Thursday.